In this module, we'll explore libraries in Python. At the top of our bottle code, and usually at the top of any Python script, we have an import. Python imports can take the form of simply import some module name, or from a specific library, import something. If we use import only, then we'll need to type the library before we use some of its content in our code. Sometimes, just using from and specifying which libraries you want to use is less tedious. In this case, we have from bottle import some specific libraries. Let's go ahead and try a few imports ourselves. We'll start with a simple library called random. Random allows us to perform randomized operations, such as randomizing a number for a guessing game. First, let's import random. Because we've imported random in this way, we'll need to call random before we can use any of its methods. This is why using the from library method is less tedious. Now we'll use the randint method to generate a number from 0 to 99. Then we'll print generate random. Let's do this 2 more times. When we run our code, our 3 random numbers will generate. With our import and generate random working, let's go ahead and add an input for a user to take a guess. Now we'll use a selection statement to see if the user's guess matches the random number. A selection statement is code that allows us to do things based on specific conditions. The most common selection statement is the if and else. First we'll write if guess equals generate random, then print you got it. Notice how we ended the if line with a colon and indented the print under the condition that it corresponds to. Remember, an indent is 4 spaces or tab. A lot of new programmers realize that they can get away with indenting with less or more than 4 spaces, but 4 spaces is the more Pythonic way of doing things. If the guess does not equal generate random, then we'll print nope. Notice that else does not have a specific condition, since there could be no other condition in this case, and that the line is ended with a colon, followed by an indentation for the print statement. Before we run our program, we need to check our data types. Our input takes everything as a string, and randint returns an integer. In order to compare guess and generate random, we need to cast our input to an integer. This works nicely, and if we check the value of generate random, we can see that it is generating a random number. Using just print statements, let's extend our program to give the user 3 more tries instead of just 1. We'll create 2 more if-else statements and nest them under the first else. Our program works nicely. In the coming modules, we'll learn how to optimize code like this using loops.